Hey, well-read baddies. Welcome to another episode of She Well Read. I'm Alana.
And I'm Samra.
And today I'm not going to say it again because last time I said it, I threw us off and things were chaotic. And so I'm going to just, yeah. Anywho, we're back. Shout out corner. Follow us everywhere at She Well Read. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave comments on our videos. We do respond and like them. Thank you for everyone who's done so already. Subscribe to our Patreon. All of these things are linked in our bio. I kind of feel sometimes like when I'm doing the intro, like a flight attendant, like when they're reading the like emergency stuff before a flight.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like.
Little script.
Yeah, I got my little script, and then but I know people are probably at home like skipping over this. Because that's what I do when the flight attendants are up. I just be watching whatever I was watching or listening to whatever I was listening because I didn't heard it a million times.
Sometimes you get that one flight attendant who just puts their own spin on it.
That's true.
And you're like, wow, I can't help but listen.
This is true, and that has happened
That's
before.
who you are.
All right, okay, period.
Because each one's like slightly different, you know?
Yeah, T. To continue, yes. Also, support our season's partners who are Be Rooted and Basic. They came back again for another season to support us. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Honorary baddies.
Yeah, and their discount codes will be able to find in the bio because I cannot think of them right now and I don't want to give you false information. So just check out the description and the bios and all the things. All right, coffee break. Let's get into it. What you been up to, girl?
Girl, oh my God. I've been slammed at work.
Speak on it.
All I do is I get to work and I just go,
it's like fire, fire, fire. But which one do you put out first?
yeah, and then I get off. That's pretty much how it goes every day.
I'm so weak. Yeah, me, like literally because I have an L-shaped desk, you know? So I like work my 9 to 5 this way, and then I do schoolwork and podcast stuff. I literally just swivel.
That's hilarious.
Once 5 o'clock hits, I literally shut this down and swivel.
You're like, okay,
on to the next one.
One hat's taken off, and now I'm this person.
Yep.
Wow, that's how I imagine it's like being a mom or something like that. You know,
facts. That's so true.
I'm gonna put my mom hat on now.
Yeah, I feel like that is how.
Like you get home and it's like instead of like being at work, you're like, "Hey, baby,"
like children.
Right? You have to like adjust.
Yeah. Also, this is not a good segue, but this is the best segue I got because there have been a lot of moms reviewing the product that I'm about to talk about. But I've been on my Poppy and Olipop game.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Lana's she's been doing the scientific research.
It's been my recent hyper fixation.
I know when you told me you got like all of these cans lined up to compare which ones are the best.
Yep.
That's how I know that you're like really in it.
Yeah, no, I'm in it.
Okay, and what have you discovered?
I, for the most part, have liked more poppy flavors than Olipop.
What's the
But
difference?
I like both. So the difference is they both do the same thing essentially. They're both like prebiotic, better than soda drinks, very similar to LaCroix. But to me, I don't like sparkling water. Like I don't like LaCroix and I don't like sparkling water by itself, like Perrier, whatever you want to call it. Like I don't like that. So I was very hesitant to try them.
Yeah.
But I was like, and the thing is, like, I really only drink water and coffee.
Yeah.
Like, on a regular basis anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like I needed a supplement for soda.
I've heard.
But I have started craving sodas more. So when that does happen, I was like, okay, well, this would be a nice alternative than grabbing a regular soda.
Fair.
So the difference between Poppy and Olipop, the only difference I found is, like, Poppy has a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in each can.
Poppy?
Yes.
Poppy, okay.
And Olipop doesn't. That's the only difference I've found so far. Now, there probably are many, and here come the camps in the comments.
Can you taste the apple cider vinegar?
No, you can't, which is really nice. And apple cider vinegar is really
strong.
good for you. Right, and it's strong. So I was surprised.
Yeah, I've heard it's good for you.
So that's also why I was like, wow, I'm interested that I like a lot of these poppy flavors more than, and I've only tried a few Olipop flavors, so I can't really say.
Okay, top flavor of each.
Ooh, of the ones I've tried so far, I'd say cherry limeade for poppy is my top right now. It's a close tie with their orange flavor.
I love cherry and I love lime.
Right. It's
Orange?
good.
Okay, orange.
Yeah, it's a tie between those two for Poppy.
Okay.
Olipop, I really like their root beer flavor.
Oh, I've tried it and I love that one.
Yeah,
It's
I really like
good.
it.
Yummy.
And I tried the strawberry vanilla,
Ooh.
and it wasn't bad. It was just too tasting like real strawberries for me, and I don't like strawberries. I'm very much, and I know this is bad, like I can do artificial strawberry taste, but I can't do like the real stuff, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to try these now.
But the strawberry vanilla is really sweet, so I think you would like it.
Okay, I like that. Does it like? Can you tell the difference in your body? Like,
Yeah,
really?
I have a lot of gas.
Like more? Like
Yeah.
more when you drink it, or more?
Yeah, more when
less?
I drink it.
Oh.
Like I can feel it doing what it's saying that it's supposed to do. Like
Oh, so that's
I'm more
good.
regular.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, so probiotic makes you like.
Yeah. Mhm. It helps your digestive. That's what it like helps your digestive system.
Oh.
hmm
Well, put me on, girl.
Right. That was the other thing where I was like, I'm sure I have some type of gut issue. So
There's so many types of gut issues.
Right. I was like, I think I got one of them. I just don't know which one.
So you're just helping at your little
Yep.
your gut.
Mhm.
You said bloop.
Yeah.
Oh, so you drink one a day? Like, what's the vibes?
I attempt to.
Mhm.
But I'm just trying to get on my schedule game. Which, okay, this is a great segue into this book right here that y'all are probably like, what the hell is this in the center?
Right. Hello.
Hello. So Tina Wells, shout out to Tina Wells. She's an author. She has her own media company. She sent us a whole package of goodies. But it also included this book that she just released, which it is, and I was like, that's that fast. The Elevation Approach. I've been saying it all day, and I don't know why, like, that split second. I forgot.
I really like the cover.
It's very, like, and the crazy thing was, I saw it on my Target run this past weekend. Before
So
we
it's
even got
out.
it.
It's
Yeah,
out
it's
in the
out.
stores.
It's out.
You can get your
You can
copy.
get it. We'll have it linked on our bookshop and Amazon list.
And Tina Wells, like, she's a powerhouse.
She is a major powerhouse. So I'm really excited to read it. And I actually convinced my boss to let us read it for our book club at work. So
There you go, Tina.
putting it on
Lana's
game.
Like, yeah, she's putting everybody on the whole Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Love a black woman to infinity to infinity.
Period. You're gonna have to review it.
I know. I really like. If I was already gonna read it on my own, but now I have to read it. Not have to. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to read it for work, and I think it is gonna help me with bettering my habits, especially because I think it talks a lot about like. No, I know it talks a lot about like work-life balance, especially like as an
I feel
entrepreneur.
like this is like the time. I feel like we're all in this right now. We need this.
Right. It is
Because
definitely the
with
time.
summer coming up, it's like I gotta find the balance. You know, I feel like you're in your little hibernation. There's not really much balance in the winter, at least for me.
Yeah, I would agree.
But in the summer, I want to kind of lean more towards the joy. And I see that she has something about cultivating joy. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure that out.
So we will keep y'all posted with our reviews of said book. But I have high hopes.
Me too.
So
Cool.
yeah, that's about it for me. That's all I got going on.
Uh,
I know it's like now it's like we about to get into it, but what we about to get into is very intense. So trigger warning, trigger
Yeah.
warning.
That
Trigger
needs to be
warning.
instead of let's get into the
Trigger warning.
Because
But let's get into the chapter.
period.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh my god.
Can I please go first because
Go
the way
ahead.
I cackled, but like it's so inappropriate, but like it's not funny, haha.
I know. It happens. Yeah, just get into it. Hold
Yeah.
on. What chapter are we on?
We are on chapter 55. If you're following along with us, that is page 183. Shout out to all the well-read baddies following along with us as well.
Y'all are so studious.
Y'all are, whether you're reading along with us or if you're just catching up on all the episodes and staying on top. We see you and we appreciate you.
Love you, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we low-key should have finished this chapter last episode.
Yeah.
But it was like a little It was like a reminder of what happened. And then we move on to like the next
Right,
section.
the next phase. Yeah. So getting it started with chapter 55, we are currently sitting on the couch looking at mom as she lies in her hospital bed. Basically, we're at the end
The brink of death.
The brink of death. But like this time for real.
I know we've been waiting for it for
54 chapters. 54 chapters later.
Here we are.
She is with her entire family back at her childhood home, which she calls Garbage Grove Hoarder House.
I didn't catch that. I was like, damn, what kind of hospice care place is this? Oh my God.
No.
So that's her home.
Yes.
Not garbage. She gets funnier. Something about 55.
Something about trauma. Something about trauma makes you a little bit dark humor and funny.
She was making all these little comments that I was weak at.
Same. I was like my job multiple times reading this. I was like, hello. But yes, she's describing her mother's breath getting shallower than she's ever heard it before. And everybody's just kind of silent. There's not really anybody crying. It's just like they're emotionally drained. She describes it as being emotionally exhausted by the whole situation.
It's giving Ariana Grande No Tears Left to Cry.
It's funny you should mention that because, we getting into that too later. And she even ropes back to, we remember the VHS tape.
I know. Like, it's like really been drawn out. Her mom has been harping on her own death for
years.
Yeah. I mean, it was her whole personality.
Her cancer, or like beating her cancer was her personality, and now having her cancer was her personality. It's just a constant cycle.
Yeah.
And whew, geez, Nickelodeon's like, yep, you're all good for missing the worldwide day of play, because remember, she had to miss her flight in order to go be with her mom.
It seems so insignificant.
Right. It's like, okay, bye.
What? Nickelodeon? What?
Yes, but we do get a relationship update. She is with somebody right now that she met, quote unquote, met on Twitter. And they arranged to meet up in person with some friends, so she knew that they weren't a serial killer and gonna kill her. And it popped off and went well. And they've been on multiple dates, and she says he's wonderful and sweet and thoughtful and romantic, but she doesn't love him. And she's thinking, maybe it's because I don't have the space right now for that, because I'm dealing with my mother's literal imminent death at the moment.
It's a lot.
And she says, or maybe it's just a genuine lack of connection because of grief. And she even says, grief is a great scapegoat. Regardless, I'm discovering just how powerful of a tool it is to not love someone, which wraps into so many things, right? I was like, damn.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah, she goes on to say on 184 that she loses herself in love, and girl, I feel like girls can relate. Really, anyone who's a lover, girl, boy, they, them.
Right. Non-binary friends.
It is easier to not love people.
Yeah.
Because you'll never get hurt.
To just shut people out. I remember being in that place of just fuck it. I'm just going to be by myself, riding solo. And that's okay, too, while you're healing.
Yeah.
In your healing girl era.
Very true. Because it is a lot. It can be too much.
Right. Which we find as she's trying to text what she calls him current guy as a distraction, but she's already ready for a replacement of him. And so she whips out her phone to text him, and she says, what are you up to? He says, she whips out her phone and finds that he said, what are you up to? And he spells it with T-O-O. And she said, I'm no stickler on spelling, but Jesus Christ, get your twos right. That's it. I'm ready to end things. I draft a text. Just cut throat. This is it.
She's a heartless dater right now. Very much.
I wouldn't even say heartless. I would just, it's cutthroat, but I guess that could lean towards being.
Yeah.
You can say heartless. Yeah.
If
no emotion.
Spelling, right.
Triggered. Maybe a trigger? No,
I don't even think so. Yeah. She literally doesn't care about this man.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she's like, I'm about to end this. She drafts a text. She says, hey, I'm really sorry, but I just can't do this right now. My mom's going to die, and I really need some time to just be alone. I hope you can understand. She sends it. She thinks it's done. He texts back and says, "Don't say that, boo. Your mom's not gonna die." You'll
The
get wasted.
boo took me out.
Yeah, I was
bae.
like, yeah, right. Back in the day, boo, my boo, hello.
Oh God.
And she says he ignores the rest of the message. She rolls her eyes. She says she's told him many times that her mom is dying of cancer, but he likes to act like it's a sprained ankle. And
Which
she
is
talks
so
about,
frustrating.
yeah, she talks about how there's those people when it comes to, you know, death and grief and all of that, who's like, no, it's going to be okay. And then the people who are like, no, like this is real. And she describes it as the people who know loss and the people who don't, which I think is very real.
I completely agree.
Like there's nothing like going through your first like true loss. I know, right? Like it's very
Yeah.
emotional.
Yeah.
And so she puts her phone down. She's looking at Dustin, Scotty, and then her mom. Her breath looks strenuous. She's struggling to hang on. She hates this. Mom takes a sharp breath in, then out. The hospice nurse locks eyes with her dad, gives a slight nod. Dad looks at them. Mom's gone.
It was so anticlimactic, low key.
Low key, it happened just like so quickly.
It's kind of interesting that she ended her relationship and then her mom ended her life. Or I guess God, I don't know.
I don't have words. She says they're all numb. No one cries. They just sit in silence. Finally, she picks up her phone and hundreds of messages have poured in. Everyone's heard. E-News broke the story. And she's like, how the fuck do they know already?
Right.
That's what I said. I was like, how the fuck?
Like,
right, literally,
sent the-
immediately.
Yeah.
Or like somebody
she
who was
had
in the care.
email typed out, ready to go.
Mhm.
And they just had to like bloop. And then, because that was so fast.
Which is so oh, you know what? Reminds me of a story that I literally saw today and it's still developing about how Prince Harry, Princess Meghan Markle, and her mom were being chased for 2 hours by the popper. Like literally, like
Scary. Princess Diana.
exactly.
Is the queen still alive? She died, right?
She died.
I was going to say, did she put the hit out?
No.
But it must not be the queen that's putting out these hits. I don't know what's going on.
We don't
I don't want to spread false information.
I know it's a whole conspiracy theory. There's so many things, but
Yeah.
this reminded me of it's like what the fuck? How do all these people
I saw
like people are
that
getting paid
headline,
off?
But kind of
and,
forgot about it. But like that's very, very scary. And her mom was with her too.
Yep.
The
So
British
scary.
tabloids are there. Someone needs to do something.
We gonna
It's
see.
been so long and they're still just awful.
Just awful.
Like, damn.
Yeah. And so she gets back on the phone and clicks the chain with current guy. She stares at that last text that says, "Don't say that, boo. Your mom's not gonna die." She texts him back. She just did. Like, imagine being that dude. And look at, and like,
Current guy is quaking.
he is quaking. In fact, he's like, all right, this is it. All right, I'm just gonna leave now and step out of the way and just let that one
He said,
go.
okay, I guess we're over.
Right, for real this time, because I too would end things with me if I were you.
If I just said that.
Yeah, exactly. And so now we're moving into the after of the book. You know how she divides it in the before and now we're in the after. Into chapter 56.
Yeah, 56. So they're saying their goodbyes to their mom's dead body, and their dad is like, we should do something.
Yeah, like that kind of like distraction. Let's
yeah,
not think
so
about
they
this.
go to the fucking mall, which I was like, I cannot imagine my mother passing away and then going to the most crowded place
I know.
in existence.
But we all, like, that's the thing. We all handle grief and loss differently. And I guess if they're so desensitized at this point, they're like, we just need something that's going to, like, completely distract our thoughts on this.
Yeah, I guess it's better than like sitting at home crying.
And wallowing.
Yeah. Well, period. So they're going to the Apple store to get Jeanette an iPhone case. And this shout out to the service worker Apple dude who read the room and was like, hey there, how's your day going? And then he like looked at them and he was like, he drops his smile and redirects. And Jeanette even says she appreciates this about him. And I was like, shout out to all the service people who can read the room.
Mm-hmm. Read the room. That could be an episode title.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
And anyway, they get the case, they're out of there, and they are onto the food court. Jeanette orders a salad and dressing on the side to make her mom proud, which R.I.P. Deborah. She doesn't eat a single bite of it, and she feels grateful that trauma has finally curbed her appetite, which, sure. And she feels like she's honoring mom with the smallness of her body. She's like, I look like a kid again, and she's determined to keep this up. So
just really dark and foreshadowing stuff going on right here, especially with eating disorders, which again, trigger warning, we're going to talk about eating disorders and what I would call sexual assault.
Yeah.
So yeah, just
agreed.
Putting that in there.
So yeah, she gets home after their little outing, and she's in her big house. And she feels very lonely, and she, you know, her house is a shit show. They're still working on it. So there's tarp all over the floor, and it's like making, you know, she's sitting on the floor and it's like crinkling, and she's just like, I think I hate this house. And she's like, I gotta get out of here, basically. So she texts all her friends, and she's like, you know, I mean, I guess everybody knows at this point that her mom just died. So they're like, bet, yeah, like, let's go out to eat. Let's have a good time. Let's get your head off of it. And so they go to a sushi place, and she is like, sake.
Which she's already been drinking. She even said she had downed a bottle of whiskey by herself.
Shots. Did she say the whole bottle?
Well, oh, you're right. She said, I open a bottle of whiskey and drink a few gulps straight from the bottle.
Which, hardcore, Jeanette. And so anyway, she gets there. She orders her sake, and she's like, I want to eat everything. She's a little bit, you know, tipsy. So she just ends up ordering the first thing she sees, which is like some teriyaki meal. And she realizes that she's starving, and she hasn't really been eating anything, is what we learned. She's been living off whiskey, Coke Zeros, and 2 individual bags of barbecue baked Lays.
Which barbecue baked Lays do bust down.
I hate those.
Really?
I do hate anything baked.
I like even baked hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love baked.
I don't like baked. But yeah, so that's been her diet. And she's kind of just sitting at the table silent. Everybody else is talking, and they just are, in her head, she's like, they probably think I'm just grieving, and this is how I'm grieving. But in reality, she's just thinking about the food that she wants to eat. And she as soon as her food comes out, she devours it. There's nothing left, and she drinks the entire bottle of sake.
She orders another one too,
and then she orders another and downs that one as well. So safe to say she's feeling it. And her mind is only really like thinking about what she's gonna do about all the food she ate, because she's kind of like hyper fixated on eating, food, all of those things. She's basically like, I need to get these people out of here, because I need to figure out my game plan of like, how am I gonna get this food out of my body? And I'm sure y'all can guess what I mean by that. So anyway, obviously her friends are there to keep her company, and she's the one that invited them out. So she's like, how do I do this without being rude, but like get out? So anyway, they're finally gone, and she's like in the bathroom by the toilet trying again. Y'all know she tried that one time to puke, and it didn't work, and she felt like a failure. This time she's like, no, it's happening. So it doesn't work the first time. She ends up like her nail scratches the back of her throat, and it hurts really bad, and she's just like, nope, it's coming out. So anyway, she does it one more time, and vomit finally comes out, and she looks down at the vomit, and she feels victorious. She said, so what if I fucked up and ate? So what if I failed? So fucking what? All I have to do is shove my fingers down my throat and watch my mistake be undone. This is the start of something good.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't know why in this moment in my head, this could be the start of something new, started playing in my head. I said, this is not the time.
You said brain?
Like,
Stop.
cut it. Really cut it.
Carry on.
Right.
57.
On to 57. So she's doing her hair and makeup for her mom's service. This is funeral day, everybody. And she's doing everything that her mom liked to best, which also happens to be the thing she liked least, which no surprise there.
Gotta love moms and daughters, though, because that's me and my mom. If she likes it, I don't like it.
Yep.
If she likes it, I hate it.
Yep. So she's hot curling her hair, overlining bold red lip, scraping eyeliner along her sensitive tear ducts. And the result is more severe than what she'd hoped for, but this will have to do because she's got to go. So she puts on her black dress robotically, zips it up, throws on a pair of heels. Marcus, who's been staying with her for a week, drives, and we get a relationship check for him too. His wife, Elizabeth, sits shotgun, which I was like, hello?
Congratulations, Marcus.
Right. And she's in the back of the car for this hour-and-a-half ride, and she's got a very big decision to make. Is she going to sing The Wind Beneath My Wings?
Her mom's last wish.
At her mom's funeral. And so she's describing this drive to the funeral, and on the radio is Sarah Bareilles' Brave, which is the biggest song on the radio right now. And it blares from the speakers what she says every third song, which if you listen to the radio, you know exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Whenever something's really popular, it's going to play about 50 times that day.
How does that song go? It was in my head earlier. I can't think of it now.
Say what you want to say and let the words come out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. Yeah, that one.
If y'all don't know that song, now you know.
And now it's stuck in your head if you do know that song.
Like, that was really a moment.
It was. Sarah Bareilles, hello?
I just got to cut you off because someone's going to say this. Bareilles.
Oh.
Maybe I'm wrong, though. I said it really confidently, but as I'm saying it, I'm like, is that right?
I've never heard that.
I was a big fan when she dropped a love song, girl. That was my song.
I think that was everybody's song.
Well,
so
it was my song.
Is this like a Rihanna versus Rihanna moment?
I think so.
Okay.
What do y'all vote?
Let us know if you know.
Hey, Sarah.
Let us know.
What's your name? How you say it?
I'm so weak. So yeah, she's making this big decision if she's going to sing the Wind Beneath My Wings. During the last few months, that was her mom's one request. And she even practiced the song all last month leading up to this, to the point where her neighbor taped a piece of paper on her door that read, "No more Bette Midler."
I was like, damn, because she lives in a house. So, like, how?
Right. I didn't think about that.
I was like, hello?
God
you were
damn.
really belting it.
She's really trying here.
I know, which is sweet.
And so she's talking about how some lingering Mormon beliefs point her to the direction that she thinks her mom is on her throne in the celestial kingdom, which is the highest kingdom of heaven in the Mormon faith. And she's just really harping on, like, you know, that her mom's in the better place and that type of thing, which I think is nice and good thoughts. And so she's whipped out of her trance, though, when the Sarah Bareilles song starts playing again. And she's really listening to the final chorus, and she's like, you know what? Maybe she's right. Maybe I should be brave. Maybe I should sing Wind Beneath My Wings at Mom's funeral. For Christ's sake, literally, my afterlife depends on it.
I don't think Deborah's going to determine anything, to be honest, Jeanette, but I get it.
We get it. So Marcus turns into the parking lot, and they're back at their old church that she has not been to in years, but she's like, it looks the same and smells the same.
Gotta love one of those little churches that never changes.
I remember when I went back to my childhood church in New Orleans, and like, it was smaller than I remembered, but then when I think about it, it's like I was a little person, and like everything looked big, and then I went back and I was like, whoa,
right,
wild,
right? It'd be like that.
It do. And so Marcus and Elizabeth peel off to go greet people, so she's left alone. She heads to the family waiting room and takes a seat next to bleary-eyed Dustin, Scotty, and Grandma. She reaches into her purse to pull out the sheet music for Wind Beneath My Wings, and she's just like mentally singing it to herself, and she's like, I know I'm not capable of singing this song. Like, I can't do it. Even if I switch some things around to like put it in my key and something that I could do, like, it's just not going to sound right. Mm-hmm. And the pianist walks by and she's about to hand her the sheet music, but then the pallbearers show up and bring in her mom's casket. And she said they're milking this moment. Pallbearers love the spotlight, and her brothers are crying. Her grandma's wailing. There aren't enough cold cuts. We underestimated the turnout. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, family funerals.
Grandma's always freaking out.
She is. And so Jeanette says she's the headliner of the eulogy lineup. And so
I never thought about it like that.
Me either. And so she has Coachella. She's got all of these eulogies to sit through while she goes back and forth on this decision. And so then she's like, you know what? It's my turn. She walks up to the podium. She's shaking. She didn't give the sheet music to the pianist, so her only option left is to sing it a cappella. And I'm like, oh God. Like,
I know.
As I'm reading this. She clears her throat, takes a deep breath, and then she just starts crying. She says it's a guttural cry that puts my Hollywood Homicide audition to shame, which call back out to that audition that she did.
Throwback.
And she just keeps crying until the bishop taps her on the shoulder. And this part pissed me off. And he says, we only have the chapel for another 15 minutes. We have to prep for John Trader's baptism. She walks off stage. No Bette Midler.
It be like that when you are in a place because they do have schedules, and it doesn't matter that somebody just died.
Yeah.
Because you only paid for this space. Well, maybe in this case they didn't pay because it's a church. I don't know, but
yeah, no, you still have to pay to rent the church for stuff like that.
It's like, oh, it's like, hate to see it.
Right. So R.I.P. to Miss Deborah. And we move on to 58, page 195.
Ooh, all right, guys. So we are on 58, and Jeanette is hearing a phrase that she has heard all too often in her life, and she's finally getting sick of it.
All too well. At first, she knows all too well, if you will, Miss Swift.
Sam and Kat's version.
Okay, small thing. I've been seeing like Speak Now TV or like Red TV, and I'm just like, TV? Is she coming out with like videos or something? Bitch, tell me why it stands for Taylor's version. I wasn't the only one. But I texted Autumn and she was like, bitch. Anywho, side note.
Not TV. Yeah, I would have thought the same thing.
I was so confused. I was like, damn, this put me in my place as a Swiftie.
I guess it would be hard to write Taylor's version every single time.
Right.
So
right.
I get it.
Okay,
sense. I get y'all, Swifties. Yeah, so the assistant director of the show that she is the main character of, Sam and Kat, is telling her, thank you for being such a good sport. And she's in the middle of a scene where two kids are bouncing on her for the seventh time. And, they all know her mom, what a traumatic time Jeanette's had in the past, year. And so they've continuously say that. Not only did the assistant director say this about this particular scene, but other people on the staff, like managers, writers, producers, even the network executive sent her a $500 gift card to Barney's with the exact phrase inscribed on the attached note. Like, that is just, I guess, what people feel comfortable saying to her at this time, because she's doing her job, she's showing up, she's also kind of holding down this fort that is Sam and Kat. And she gets into why she's having to hold it down. And it's because Ariana Grande is a how do you say that?
I think it's burgeoning.
Burgeoning, which I guess means like rising.
Right, up and coming.
Up and coming pop star, which we all kind of, I mean, I remember that time when she was like part pop star, part randomly on Victorious. Well, she was on Victorious, I guess, and then there was Sam and Cat.
Yeah.
So like her career had kind of taken off at the end of Victorious. So once she was on Sam and Cat, she was like kind of like more almost a pop star than an actor on this show.
Right.
And
which Jeanette sees a lot on set.
Oh, right. Like Ariana Grande comes on set and she's actually a little bit, I mean, she's like rightfully so very excited to be doing things like being a performer at the Billboard Music Awards, for example, and just other different things like being on the covers of magazines and randomly going to Tom Hanks' house, like just to play charades. Like her stardom is really rising and she's coming onto set very excited about these things, sharing these things. And Sam, should I say Jeanette, is kind of like at first it wasn't bothering her, but it's starting to kind of bother her. And it really came to a head when Ariana said that she was at Tom Hanks' literal house playing charades. Like, all of these things, like her being on the cover of like Allure or some shit, like one of those magazines.
Yeah, but she's also talking about how like Ariana gets off the hook for not being on set because she has all of these engagements.
Yeah.
When Jeanette was trying to do the same thing back in her iCarly days, they wouldn't let her.
Right. But I think it's because she kind of is the show. She was iCarly, and it's like her show technically, even though they made it Sam and Cat.
Right, but it's like the playing field is not leveled. I think is the biggest issue here.
Yeah, it's like all of this is kind of working towards Jeanette being jealous and becoming very bitter about not only the show, because she doesn't like the show, but like Ariana specifically. And she goes into the kind of the background of like Ariana's childhood versus hers, and Ariana grew up very privileged, and she just says like things like Ariana got Gucci bags and fancy vacations and Chanel outfits, and Jeanette's like, I don't even want that stuff. But it's frustrating to me that her whole life is just like Jeanette feels like it's been like handed to her and like it's just on a silver platter, and that just never happened for Jeanette. Right. And so because of that, she's always like, she used to feel so good about being the good sport, being the teacher's pet, and like being, you know, the one that is holding things down. Like her mom always wanted her to be that person, easy to work with, like never cause a problem, all of these things.
Very complacent.
Yes. And so now she's like, I actually am done being a good sport. I resent it. And if I wasn't a good sport, I probably wouldn't be on this show to begin with. And she's just like, I fantasize about my life being different, which I feel like is completely valid, because now that her mom's gone, like she's living a life that she didn't want. And that's like kind of one of those things you have to grapple with once the person that like was living through you is no longer there. It's like, but I don't want to be here.
Right. So how do I get myself out? Because I'm here.
But she's locked in and she can't escape. She doesn't have a pop star career. And even if she did, they wouldn't let her have one. She's like, I could have been on movies. Like I got a few like opportunities and Nickelodeon was like, no. And so she just didn't do them.
Right.
And she's like, why does Ariana get to be treated differently?
And you know what I just thought about? I think it's also about your management team, about how good of a management team you have. Because if they could have worked it to where her schedule wouldn't have conflicted as much, maybe she would have been able to do it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that happens. Like, I feel like managers and producers and like people who work on your team, if they fight for you hard enough and like have provisions in your contract to where it works out in your favor if other opportunities come along,
right,
then it'll be okay.
But that makes sense also in a way, because if she was getting popular on Victorious, then when she signed up for Sam and Cat, she probably like knew she was gonna have other stuff going on. So yeah, like I could see how they could maybe have worked that out previously.
Right. And so, but it's just unfortunate for Jeanette because her team wasn't able to do that for her. And now she's even having to, which I remember when this book came out and it was a big thing about her acting with the box.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Instead of like with Ariana, because she was like not on set for a whole week and they still had to film. So she had to literally pretend that Ariana was stuck in this cage.
As an actor. I mean, I know she's getting paid out the ass probably.
Right.
But yeah,
still,
it's like, damn.
But again, it's like you said, she's an actor, but she doesn't even want to be an actor. So then to have to do these convoluted things,
right?
It's like, I already want to say fuck this, but really fuck this.
And my mom just died.
I'm going through a lot of shit right now.
I don't blame her at all for being jealous or upset. Like,
it's like valid feelings.
How would you not be? Mm-hmm. But yeah. Craziness.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it all comes to a head again when Ariana comes in talking about Tom Hanks, Sam or Jeanette. She fucks with Tom Hanks. She's like, this man is a national treasure, which valid. Mm-hmm. She's like, honestly, every time she misses work at this point, it feels like a personal attack. Every time that something exciting happens to Ariana, she's like it almost feels like Ariana's robbing Jeanette of having that experience. Like she's feeling very personally victimized by Miss Ariana. Mm-hmm. And she's just like, at the end, she's just like, fuck being a good sport. I'd rather be playing charades with Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that for you, Miss Mamas. I do. I really do.
I hate that she's so like,
it's like pointing your anger, like,
but that makes sense.
Yeah,
I hate that for her because that's not a good feeling. It's not
at all. And like, I'm sure she's been in therapy since then, and like is working through these things. Yes, so that's the bright part about all of this, I think. But it is interesting to read about.
Grande,
right? She's like, which I think she had to have talked to like even Miranda before the book came out, just like
you're right.
I'm about to like write about this stuff just so you know.
You're
like
right.
I feel like that would be like the
kind
nice heads up thing to do.
Yeah, just a heads up at least.
But on to 59. We're on page 199 also. Colton, which is her gay bestie, if you forgot who Colton is, they are chugging tequila pocket shots in the back seat of this new person we find out and learn about, Liam, his 2009 Toyota Corolla, while he drives. Mm-hmm. And they are on their way to their friend Emmy's 21st birthday party, but they are trying to get fucked up. She literally says, we want to be obliterated.
I mean, it's a 21st birthday party.
21st birthday party. But we can kind of see how her relationship with alcohol has progressed over the past few chapters.
It's getting scary. Mm-hmm. It's not a good look, Jeanette.
It's not good. Along with all of the other things. It's just like,
it's not her best moment, but we know why, guys.
Right. I feel like we're at the top of the roller coaster right now.
We've been at the top.
I know, but there's a lot happening at the top. It's a lot going on. So they get to the birthday party and she's like stumbling in. Like Liam and Colton literally have to help her walk in. But she also
hasn't even gotten there. It'd be like that.
It'd be like that. She also tells us about how she has this crush on Liam. She says he's a solid person that she would also lose her virginity to.
Which she hasn't lost her virginity. I forgot that.
Right. I was like, oh. She's like, I haven't had sex yet. And I was like, oh, damn, I forgot about that.
She's been too busy dealing with
acting with the box.
All of those.
Mm-mm. And she also describes the fact that she hasn't had sex yet, but also now she's not scared of it anymore, or really anything anymore, because she doesn't really care about anything anymore since her mom died. Her exact words.
Valid.
She's just kind of numb to everything at this point. And she says she likes Liam just fine, not in like a deep way, caring way.
Right.
And she says she likes that because then she has a fear of growing attached to him the second after they have sex, because she has this genuine fear that she's heard a lot about feminine weaknesses 100 times after,
we hear that.
Right. Like it's a thing that can happen. Like, and like, I feel like everybody, like all women know about this, like they're like, oh, the first time you have sex, like you're gonna be attached to that person forever.
I don't feel like that's true.
And it's like for some people maybe that's a thing, but like not everybody.
It didn't happen for me.
It's not a standard. But she's like, Liam and I are gonna do it soon.
She feels it in her bones.
Yeah, and she's like, maybe tonight we'll kiss for the first time. Then maybe in a week or two, when the tension's built up, we'll have sex. And then she chugs another pocket shot. And so like I said, they're in the party now, and Emmy has started to flirt with Liam, and Jeanette is noticing this. And in her head, she's like, oh, she's doing it all wrong though. Like she's being very forward about it, making it very known, and just like that's not the way you do it. And she says she learns this from her mom. And her mom used to give long-winded speeches about trusting women even less than you trust men. She says, men, they'll hurt you without ever really knowing you. But women will know you deeply, intimately, and then hurt you. You tell me which is worse. And I was like, damn.
Damn, Deborah, when you put it like that.
Which, like, women know how to go in for the kill better than men do, I gotta say.
Yeah.
More often than not.
Yeah, I, like, can't disagree with her.
Right.
It's sad that is shaping Jeanette's, like, idea of what women are like. Mm-hmm. And it's very much giving Pick Me on page 200.
Yep.
It's like, women are so weak and desperate and pathetic. Mm-hmm. And it's so embarrassing to be a woman. And she's like, I study women like Emmy so that I can be different from them, better than them.
Right. And it's like, ooh, this is nice.
You think you're eating and you're not.
Yep.
Like.
Yep. And so she says she's doing the opposite of Emmy, which is ignoring Liam for the rest of the party. She's like, it's almost too easy. So 2 hours later, they're back at her place. Liam had dropped Colton off on the way home, so it's just the two of them. And y'all, this is about to get really graphic. Again, kind of like the Joe situation, so just warning. Liam throws her onto the bed and takes off her copper dress. She's dizzy. The room is spinning. She's wasted and confused. She's like, where the fuck am I? Like, she is not in a place or mindset to give consent right now.
Very true. She basically could be blackout drunk at this point.
Mm-hmm. And she finally asks, what's happening? And Liam says in a tone that nauseates me, and also me as in Jeanette, and also me as in Alana. He says, I'm having sex with you.
Ooh. Hello?
And she says,
why?
It's hello? Like, why those words? And he says it in a way that's halfway to a baby voice, the same inflection as what a baby voice would do, but without jumping up on an octave. Like, I'm having sex with you. Like, ugh.
Baby.
And then she says, I kind of want to stop. This is not how I intended to lose my virginity, and I didn't expect it to be tonight. Like I just said, she was like, magical first kiss, and virginity thing could happen in a week or two. She thought she had time to mentally and emotionally prepare. Just really so unfortunate.
Upsetting to me.
Then she says, but I also kind of want to keep going. Who cares about the rituals and preparation? If anything, I'm relieved to be getting my virginity over with. Which I think is a mindset that happens for a lot of people. Like, I mean, it even happened to me at one point. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm ready to be done.
Me too.
I think it's a common thing.
It's so hyped.
Mm-hmm. And she says, fuck it. I say nothing. She squints her eyes to try and ground herself. And finally,
she's so drunk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, they do it. And she says a bed of sweat is trickling down his forehead. Gross. Liam eventually pulls out. He comes. She does not. The next morning, she wakes up in a puddle of sweat and she's feeling suffocated. They are basically spooning, and Liam is the big spoon. And she's trying to break free, but she can't get out of his grasp. And so she like starts poking him, and then like he starts to wake up, and she's like, "Oh, it wasn't me. Like you just like woke up naturally." And he takes a deep look at her and smiles and says, "Last night was amazing."
I hate men.
She lies and it's like agreeing. She's like, figure I'll come up with a plan to ditch him later on when I'm alone.
I guess consent wasn't like as much of like taught back then, but
But he just keeps going because he's just floating off of these vibes that they've been having and like whatever.
That's true, yeah.
So he's thinking,
they
and like she
each
even
other.
Right, she's even saying like, I'm not giving him any reason to think that I don't like him too.
Ugh.
It's just very upset. It is very
upsetting. You don't get to look at me like that. You don't get to spoon me.
Right.
You just took me.
he tries to hug her even more, and she tells him, I really have to pee. She jumps out of the bed, and suddenly she realizes how incredibly sore she is. Walking hurts, so she waddles. She gets to the bathroom. You know, she's experiencing what happens after the first time you have sex. And she spends 10 minutes washing her hands because she just feels disgusting. And she doesn't want to go back in there with Liam. And something about his presence makes her feel uncomfortable because she doesn't like this man. And he like even knocks on the door. Is like, hey, are you okay? Which is in this moment, that's why I was like, oh, like he's like really under the impression that like this was okay, even though it was like there were still signs that this was not okay though. You missed all of them. And she tells him that she's not feeling well, and he leaves. She postmates herself some breakfast. She eats it rapidly, desperately, and she's having these thoughts like, I can't stop here. I'm full. I don't have to keep going. I can interrupt the cycle. She's trying to like get her eating habits in order. And she chucks the takeout box in the trash. She's feeling overwhelmed and floods her whole body, and she rushes to the bathroom. She tries to purge. She does. She washes up. And she says usually by this point she's depleted, and this time she's not. She still is filled with pent-up anxieties and is trying to rid herself of the fucking feelings.
That's hard.
It's really hard. She runs back to the trash can and pulls the takeout box out of the trash. She stuffs her mouth with the rest of the food and then thinks, fuck, what am I doing? I need to stop. She spits out half the chewed eggs into the trash can, and she even grabs a perfume bottle from the bathroom and puts it on the remaining food, thinking it's going to guarantee her that she's going to stop eating. But then she eats more of it. The perfume makes her gag, and she throws up. She is just really in a very dark place right now.
So bad.
It's really sad.
Okay.
Moving on to the last chapter of this episode, chapter 60.
This was a very insightful chapter, even though it was dark and weird. So the beginning of the chapter starts out with a bunch of different compliments that she's getting, which, let me air quotes, compliments. They're just comments, I guess is really a better way to say it. But people at her job, I'm assuming they're all maybe men. They're producers, agents, crew members, are giving her like all these positive, AKA creepy, like they think they're positive, but they're not. About her body, they're saying things like, you're looking great. You're really starting to blossom.
You never look better.
Right. She said, they said you never look better, but I'd stop where you are anymore and you'll start to look bad thin. And then she says, she kind of explains her eating disorder experience and mentions that there were the anorexic years, which we remember those, the binge eating years, and we do remember those, and the current bulimic years. And the more experience with these eating disorders that she has, because it's been like 10 years, probably over 10 years at this point.
Yeah, she says over a decade.
Over a decade. She realizes that her body is hardly a reliable reflection of what's going on inside of it, which I thought was really deep. She said, my body has fluctuated frequently and drastically throughout this decade, and no matter how it's fluctuated, no matter if my body is a size kids 10 slim or an adult size 6, I've had an issue underneath it. And that people don't seem to get that unless they've had a history with eating disorders, which is very enlightening. And she just says, like, generally people seem to assign thin with good, heavy with bad, and too thin with bad too. And she mentions also that there's such a small window of good. And I was just like, that's so true.
Yeah. It's such facts.
We spend our whole lives trying to get to this little tiny section of what people think is good. And it doesn't even necessarily prove that, like, we're healthy. But anyway, she's like, I'm abusing my body every single day. I'm miserable. I'm depleted. And yet the compliments keep pouring in. And she mentions one that's really weird. And it says, I've got to say, I'm guessing this is a man, when you're doing run-throughs and you walk out the door for a scene, it's really hard for me not to focus on your ass. I hope it's not creepy that I said that. I meant it as a compliment.
If you have to say, I hope, it's kind of like saying, don't take this the wrong way, but.
Exactly. Like,
it's like if you have to say that, then it's bad and just shut up.
But that's like, it's just a 1-page chapter. There wasn't much there, but it still really hit. And I think that all of the ladies, maybe men too, can understand what she means when she says these things. And we just all have to remember not to comment on people's weight, first of all. But
bodies,
then,
period.
Second of all, like, don't think that being healthy looks like one specific thing, because it doesn't.
It doesn't.
And we've talked about that so many times during this season.
Yeah. And I feel like we're probably going to continue talking about this as we journey through her with her eating disorder.
True.
Yeah. So that's the end of today's episode, guys. We do have a new timeline up on the Instagram of what chapters we'll be covering in which episodes, so you can keep up with us. And just take some time to, kind of relax after listening to these episodes and take a deep breath, because we know it's going to be very triggering and very hard topics that we're covering this season. So just do what you need to do to protect your mental health, your physical health, all the things. And this has been another episode of She Well Read. I'm Alana.
And I'm Samra.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.